September 14th. I know on this blog you normally read about new movies and I tell you if they're worth watching so that you don't have to waste your money finding out. However, I have something a bit different today. It's no secret that my hometown is Havelock Bridge. I've mentioned it a few times on previous posts. Well, I imagine if you're watching the news, you know a massive riot has taken over the streets in Havelock Bridge. It must be getting pretty serious because a convoy of military vehicles came barreling down my road. I guess they called in the National Guard for reinforcements? My local news channel has given the advice to stay inside. That seems like pretty good advice to me, so time to bolt everything down and wait this thing out. I'll post an update as soon as things cool down a bit. This is Andrew, signing out for now.
This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. This is not a test. On September 14th, a mass riot started in Havelock Bridge. This civil unrest originated from an unidentified viral infection. Residents of Havelock Bridge should stay indoors until further notice. If a member of your household experiences fever, fatigue, hallucinations, or sudden outbursts of violent behavior, quarantine the individual in a room away from others. It may be necessary to restrain them until authorities can arrive. Contact with infected individuals can be extremely dangerous. Remain indoors until the all clear is given.
September 15th. Well, the only thing on TV is the national emergency message. It really creeped me out the first time I heard it, but now I'm starting to get used to it. I decided to mute my TV instead of hearing the same thing every 5 minutes. I talked to my next door neighbor last night and they aren't sticking around to figure out how this plays out. They loaded up the SUV and they're going to take a back road in the river bottoms to get out of town. He told me I should join them, but I think that's a mistake. If there really is some kind of crazy infection taking over the town, the last thing I want to do is get in the middle of it. My house has well water, plenty of firewood, and at least a couple of weeks of food. I can hold out here for a bit. Plus, I just bought this place. I'm not going to abandon it for a bunch of looters to smash. Everything I'm reading online suggests people are hungry for news and want to know what the hell is going on here in Havelock Bridge. Guess the US government's trying to keep a lid on it until they figure it out. That being said, I won't be able to do any new movie reviews for a while. But that means Flick or Fiction can provide updates about what's happening here. Now for a bit of speculation. Before my neighbor left, he mentioned that a friend of his said it started in a shipment distribution center downtown. I know, a friend of a friend is not a great source, but this is the best I can do right now. It apparently took over the downtown area exponentially fast. 1 minute, it was a few people fighting in the loading docks. Next, the entire street was having at each other. Of course, the world's going to end because somebody wanted prime shipping on their deadly virus. But in all seriousness, this will blow over in a couple of days. As soon as I learn new information, I'll post it here. September 17th. I just saw something I don't think I'll ever unsee. It had been quiet in my neck of the woods up until now. My house is pretty far from the town center, and I only have a few neighbors. I somewhat naively thought I was outside the craziness that was happening. It turns out that theory was wrong. At 8 p.m. last night, I heard a man walking up and down my road. He was just rambling some incoherent nonsense, and I wasn't going outside to figure out his issue. I just watched him from behind my bedroom curtain for a couple of hours. His movements were jerky, and he appeared to have a hard time trying to decide on his course of action. Once it looked like he picked a path, he would just abruptly change directions. The strange man certainly had the infection they talked about on TV. I felt a wave of relief when I saw a squad car pull up on my road around 10 p.m. The officer got out of his car, and the madman charged right at him, like a ravenous dog. But the part I found most disturbing was the officer's reaction. No questions, no attempt to restrain him. He just shot him point blank. Then, while he was twitching on the ground, he put another round in his face, causing him to stop. And, like it was nothing, he jumped back in his car and left, leaving the dead body on the road. All of this certainly frightens me, but the part I worry about the most is the calm demeanor of the officer. The fact that he was just completely unbothered by shooting someone. It makes me wonder, how many times has he had to do that over the last couple of days? How bad is it getting out there? September 18th. Well, if I had wanted to leave, that option's now off the table. Woke up this morning and my car is gone, and like a fool, I left it unlocked. My best guess is that someone managed to hotwire it and I was too tired to wake up. I went ahead and tried to call the police, but it directed me to the automated service. At this point, I think I'm on my own. I also may have overestimated the amount of food I have available too. I had assumed this would be over quickly, but the TV is still broadcasting the same message. Stay inside is the only news I've gotten in a few days. I'll have to start rationing my food and plan for the long term. Maybe I should have left with my neighbors when they got out. Looking at the few houses around me, I can see the cars are gone and the lights are off. Was I the only person who decided to stay? I do have one update, I suppose. While making my coffee this morning, I heard a burst of gunfire. It must have only been a few miles away. Whatever is going on out there, I think the fighting is starting to spill out from the town and into the countryside. Is the National Guard struggling to get this under control? I can't say for sure, but now I have no choice but to stick with my original plan. Stay inside and try and ration my food, and hope they get this mess under control soon. It feels like I stepped into a Night of the Living Dead movie. Only, I don't have anyone to talk to about it, except for the people online. Just me in this big house in an empty field. The one positive is that my blog following has grown quite a bit. People really want to hear about what's going on in Havelock Bridge. All I had to do was risk my life to get online famous. Well, this has been Andrew from Flickr Fiction News, signing off. September 19th. I went outside today. If nothing else, I just needed to get some fresh air. I did what you guys asked in the comments and took a look at the corpse on the road. It hasn't even been that long and it already smells terrible. Looking at its eyes, the pupils seem to be extremely dilated. Some sort of weird symptom of the infection, maybe? I know you wanted me to check the pockets, but I don't want to get too close to it. I have no idea how that infection is spread, and I could be taking a risk just getting near it. Going out also gave me a chance to look around at the few houses on my road. Sure enough, they look abandoned, so I really am alone out here. I may need to raid those houses for supplies. I'm pretty much down to rice, cup ramen, and a few cans of soup, and an odd can of pumpkin pie filling I don't remember buying. I'll post another update tomorrow when I search the houses. September 19th, second post. Just woke up and can't get back to sleep. I thought I'd give you guys a quick update. I got jolted awake by the sound of screaming and went to my window to figure out what the hell was going on outside. Saw some woman sprinting down the road, being chased by a pack of those things. By the time I realized what was happening, she was gone. I sure hope she got away and found someplace safe. The warnings about the infected being aggressive has not been overblown like some websites are claiming. In that short moment, I could tell that pack's intention was to kill that woman. To what purpose, I can't say, but the way they chased her, it was predatory in nature. Almost primal, if that makes sense. It could be like the rabies. That causes hyper-aggressiveness, right? Oh god, I am in a zombie apocalypse movie. It's a zombie outbreak and I don't own a gun. Maybe I'll get lucky and find one in one of those homes. Also, that is the second time I've seen the infected at night. Could it be a coincidence, or are they more active at nighttime? September 20th. Well, today was a nightmare. Now I have a better idea of what I'm dealing with out here. So, I grabbed a backpack this morning and a baseball bat from my closet and went looting. In a 1-mile radius, I only have 3 houses around me, so it's not like I have a bunch of options. The first house had some medical supplies and a few cans of food. The second house had a bag of potatoes that still looked good and a box of cereal. Guess most of my neighbors had the foresight to bring their food with them. However, the third house, that was when I ran into some trouble. I noticed one of the windows was already broken out, so I managed to unlock it and crawl inside. I figure someone has already looted the house, but maybe they left the food. The room inside is dark and I can't see anything, but I can hear a low growl coming from the corner. I don't even think about it. I just jump right back out the window. I decide I'm not sticking around to figure out what the hell is in the room. Well, as soon as I crawl outside, a damn person charges right through the window, bursts through the frame, and lands on the ground beside me. I'm disoriented and trying to figure out what's going on, and I got this woman crawling towards me. The same woman I saw last night running from that pack. She's trying to grab me, but it's like she can't see me. Then I see her eyes. They're completely dilated, just like the corpse. That's why they're active at night. They can't see in the daylight. Or at least that's my theory. So, this infected woman can't see me, but she can hear me and she's closing the distance. I bring up the baseball bat and smash it into her back. I figure this'll be enough to put her down for a while, and I can get back home. The force of the blow brought her to the ground, but she just got wrapped back up on her feet, like it was a minor inconvenience. So I bring the bat back and slam her with it again. But it's like it has no effect. She just keeps getting back up on her feet and charging blindly at me. I repeat this process at least a dozen times. I keep warning her to stop, but she only responds with incoherent shouting. I swear it's like she wasn't even a person anymore, just a mindless, rage-filled creature who wants me dead. I can feel my arms getting tired. I'm struggling to catch my breath. The panic is starting to set in, and I have this thought. What if her determination overpowers my endurance? That is when I swing the bat as hard as I can at her head. I feel the impact reverberate through the bat, followed by a sickening crunch noise. It sort of sounded like stepping on dead leaves. My bat has a bright red spot on the end, and the infected woman is dead on the ground. I caved in her skull, but I don't think I had a choice. Now I understand why the officer shot the guy and moved on. You can't reason with them, and I seriously doubt you could restrain one of them. Now that she's down on the ground, I see her arms are covered with bite marks. Human-sized bite marks. Maybe it really is like the rabies virus. Suddenly, the reality of the situation sets in. I end up throwing up on the ground and heading home. I don't even bother to check the house. I just couldn't make myself go back inside. I came home, took a shower, sat down at the computer to write this out. I know I need to eat, I just don't feel like it right now. Maybe I'll come up with a plan tomorrow, but I think I need to leave soon. September 21st. The good times keep coming here at Havelock Bridge. The power just cut out, so now I'm writing on my phone. Thank God the cell towers are still working thus far. I'm going to keep my phone off and only use it to provide updates on the blog. If I lose this, I'll be completely cut off from the world. I know I'm by myself, but having this outlet, this connection to the world, I think it's what's keeping me sane. I don't know how I'll manage without it. Finding a way to recharge my phone is a problem I'm gonna have to solve. This is Andrew, signing out for now. September 23rd. I think I heard more of the infected moving around last night. I didn't get up and check the window this time. I figure I'm better off not drawing attention to myself. I started putting blankets over the windows so those things can't see inside. I don't know if the light from my fireplace would draw them in or repel them, but I don't want to figure out the answer to that just yet. Also, fun fact, my stove is electric, so now I'm cooking over the fireplace. It turns out that cooking over a fireplace is really difficult. Getting the heat evenly mixed in the pan is challenging. I really don't get how people lived before electricity. It's not like you can't do the same things, it's just that everything is a whole lot more difficult without it. Want coffee? Great. Now you gotta boil water over a fire to do that. Want to heat your house? Just use your fireplace. That's not as efficient as your HVAC unit. Also, I'm only able to keep the living room warm, so I'm sleeping on the couch. The things I took for granted before are actually chores now. It also gave me some time to think about everything that's happening here. I'd always just assumed the government was on top of it. Is it true this really started because someone sent a package holding a virus? How is it possible that no one noticed someone was shipping a biological weapon through the mail? Then it hit me. The world has gotten so big, so interconnected, I don't think anyone's able to keep track of it anymore. Prevention of disasters is impossible. Now they're just reacting to them. I also assumed they could sort this mess out in no time, and I'd be back to my normal life. But here we are, a week in, and I still can't leave my home. I don't know if they're trying to study it or if they really just can't contain it. Whatever the case, it's getting worse out here. I read your comments, and tomorrow morning I'm going to go check the third house, the one I couldn't get myself to check before. I'm going to start putting together a pack to hike out of here. I got this feeling that I'm running out of time. September 24th. The third house turned out to be a slam dunk. Went back inside the smashed window, except this time I brought a flashlight with me. Checked the house, and to my relief, there were no infected inside. Started checking room by room for anything I could use. And I hit the mother lode. Found some camping packs that I can use for my hike out here, and about 3 weeks of MREs. Also found a laptop that still had 50% battery. I used the laptop and charged my phone, so now I don't have to worry about my phone dying anytime soon. But I'm saving the best part for last. Under the bed in the primary bedroom, I found a 12-gauge shotgun and 5 rounds in the box beside it. Not exactly a gun enthusiast, but I feel comfortable enough using it if I have to. Just knowing that I don't have to worry about food for a while, and having something better than a baseball bat to defend myself with has really improved my mood. By the time I got the camping gear and food moved over to my place, it was already starting to get dark. I'll get my pack ready tonight and start my hike out tomorrow morning. September 24th, second post. I really messed up, guys. I don't know if I just got overconfident or too comfortable being in the house, but I don't think I can get out now. It started out as a pretty normal night. I was making hot tea over the fire because I'm tired of drinking water, and I ran out of coffee. Well, at some point the blanket partially fell off the window, and I didn't notice it, giving everything a view of me and my fireplace. I hear a rattling sound at my window, and it scares the hell out of me. I dropped my pot of tea, which caused the knocking to increase in intensity. Then I did the stupidest thing of all. I turned on my flashlight and pointed it towards the window. I don't know if I did it because the light provided me the illusion of safety, or I had to know what was knocking at my window. But I did it, and now I'm living with the consequences of that decision. Standing at the window was a horde of those things, at least a dozen infected people trying to find a way inside. The sudden illumination stunned them for a moment. causing the horde to step away from the window. But the pacifying effect of the light passed quickly, being replaced by pure primal rage. Within an instant, they began to break down the window. I grabbed the shotgun off the floor and the box of ammo beside it. I loaded a couple of rounds as quickly as my hands would allow, stuffing the other 3 into my pocket. Just as I chambered a round, 3 of those ghouls breached the window and stormed at me. Howling cries of rage and incoherent words came spewing forth, as if my very existence was an indescribable insult that demanded a violent answer. The living room exploded with the sound of the firearm being discharged. The buckshot killed the one in front and severely wounded the creature behind it. However, the third one was unharmed and grabbed the barrel of the gun. The infected creature snapped his head towards me, trying to bite my arm. I barely managed to get my hand out of the way, leaving the creature to bite at empty air. The noise of his teeth smashing together is one that I won't forget. I could hear the sound of them breaking with that attempt. I shudder just thinking about the force of that bite. It would have certainly taken a chunk out of me. Kicking at the creature's midsection, I managed to create some space and free the gun from its grasp. I chambered the second round and pulled the trigger at a point-blank range. The best way I can describe the results is hamburger meat where its head used to be. I know that's graphic, but I feel like the details are important. The wounded infected that was left couldn't quite get to its feet. Instead, it made a slow crawl towards me. However, behind it, I could see the rest of the horde coming through the window. At least 5. I figure I can climb to the top of the staircase and funnel them into a tight space where my 3 rounds can do the most damage. At this point, it was a half-baked plan that didn't consider the next step. I quickly climbed the staircase and loaded the last 3 rounds I had left. The new wave of infected quickly scaled the staircase behind me and would have most likely gotten to me before I could load the gun if it was not for the fact they tripped over each other. They may not attack other infected, but they certainly don't work together either. It's an every zombie for itself kind of mentality. I unload the last 3 rounds I have in the shotgun on the crowd in front of me. The cacophony of blasts leaves my ears ringing. The tight space was my saving grace, killing or immobilizing the 5 infected charging up the stairs. But now I have a bigger problem. I'm out of ammo and I'm stuck upstairs. Like I said, it was only a half-baked plan. Looking over the railing, I can see the sound has drawn even more infected into my house. The only thing that saved my life is that there are literally so many infected inside, they can't move easily up the stairs. All I can think to do is to try to buy myself more time. I run down the hall and pull the ladder down from the ceiling. I climbed up inside and pulled the ladder up, closing the door and shutting myself inside the unfinished space. The infected don't appear to have the mental ability to open doors, but they know I'm here, somewhere in the house. I can hear them destroying the place looking for me. So here I am, stuck in the attic with an empty shotgun, a cell phone, and at least a couple of hundred infected just below my feet. I don't think anyone's coming to save me. I don't think that the infected are going to give up. My best bet is to wait for daylight and make a run for it. I'm not optimistic about my chances. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm probably going to die. If I somehow make it out, I'll post another update. Say a little prayer for me. This is Andrew, signing out. Ghastly here. If you enjoyed the story, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to hear more stories like this one, give this video a like. It is the best way to support my work for free. Until next time, my friends.